back in South Dakota, the land of my birth, where I first learned to hunt deer. You gotta know where the whitetails live. They're not just gonna show up anywhere and everywhere.
We gotta go after this buck. He's a big one. He's going right now on a hot doe down in the creek. We gotta get down to a stack of old hay bales here. We might have a crack at him. There's a doe. That's a buck. Straight up, dead on shot. Set that scope to 6. Put a round in. They're not gonna stop. I'm gonna have to shoot him.
Yeah, you never had it?
Hit me with the front of the hunt. So there's this buck.
Dead deer.
Nice little rack on him.
Winchester's World of Whitetail. Winchester's World of Whitetail is brought to you by Winchester Ammunition, the American legend. Ram Trucks, Guts, Glory, Ram. Cabela's, celebrating 50 years as the world's foremost outfitter. Bushnell, magnify life. Dallas Safari Club, promoting conservation, education, and ethical hunting worldwide. Mossy Oak, it's not a passion, it's an obsession. And by Otis Technologies, the most advanced gun care systems in the world.
A long, long time ago, right here in South Dakota, a young teenage boy went on his first deer hunt. The old-timers got in a line, they stuck him on the far end of it, and they started marching through the forests of the Black Hills of South Dakota. Little button buck came running over the snow towards this boy on the end of the line, and the old guy said, "Get him, son, you're our last chance." And when he saw that little deer running this way while he was swinging this way, he pulled the trigger, and the bullet and the deer met, and a deer hunter was born. That sad story was about me, and I'm back in South Dakota, the land of my birth, where I first learned to hunt deer, and we're going to do it all over again up here on the bare naked plains of Butte County. I think I really did grow up in the right place. West River, South Dakota is a cornucopia of wildlife and hunting opportunities. So I began to learn how to hunt whitetails. At the same time, I was discovering mule deer hunting, pronghorn hunting, just about anything and everything you could cover in South Dakota, we did it. I tried my hand at writing some articles right out of college. I wrote 5 of them, sent them off to 5 magazines cold, and sold all 5 of them. So I quit my 9 to 5, as they say, and devoted myself full-time to being an outdoor writer. I took my dogs and my guns and my bows and my rods and reels, and I just headed across country to hunt wherever I could and whenever I could. I currently write about 100 to 125 articles a year. I've written 7 or 8 books. My job as an outdoor writer is to inform and entertain. The key to telling a good story is to get to the essence or the heart of it. If a writer can reach deep inside, pull some of that stuff out, and then transfer it to the written word or photographs, other people are going to recognize it instinctively.
Ron's returned home to South Dakota for 2 separate hunts, starting with Dakota Ranch Outfitters near his boyhood haunts on the endless, undulating prairies of Butte County.
In this big old prairie country, you've got to know where the whitetails live. They're not just going to show up anywhere and everywhere. They're in little pockets, and mostly along the rivers and streams in that riparian zone, but that's why you've got the advantage of a local guide. Here's Newell right here. I think I've got one. Dakota Ranch Outfitters have a simple idea. What they do for the hunter is find the properties on which to hunt. And then they do the scouting to find where on those properties the best deer are, and they take you hunting. No planting of crops, no adding minerals, no manipulation. It's just wild deer hunting. Oh boy, that'd be a nice one. That would be a nice shot. Too small. That was a good one. Might be another one in there.
We know the travel corridors, we know the habitat that the whitetail deer are in. They're concentrated. They're along river bottoms or creek bottoms.
You can see these lower shelves here. Those deer will come through those willows, these rose bushes and buckbrush.
Bed right in there?
They'll lay right on those lower shelves.
Boy, that makes it tough. We're about to have to step on
Just
them.
about got to be on top of them. The rut's going and it's the time to be out.
Just a little buck.
Yep.
There's some more going through there.
Up to the north, yep.
Let's get down in there.
Okay.
Doesn't take much cover for the darn things to hide. We may have to adopt a new tactic for getting into this stuff to see them. I've been extremely fortunate that my career has enabled me to hunt around the world for everything from bunnies to bears to buffalo. Yet I keep coming back to whitetails. There's always a new challenge and always something new to learn. So we want to examine the world of whitetail. What do they mean to you and him and Jim and Harry and Sally? Why are we so fascinated by this animal? This little boy in South Dakota has grown up to be a world hunter, and he is so fortunate to have these opportunities. Being an outdoor rider beats being an indoor rider, or most other things I could think to do.
Up next, Ron spots, Ron stalks, and Ron pulls out the stops to get a shot at a big buck on the run.
That's a buck. They're not gonna stop. I'm gonna have to shoot him running.
Whitetail expert Ron Spomer learned to hunt in the wide open spaces of South Dakota. Now he's back in his home state, looking to connect on a big Butte County buck.
You know, out in these prairies, you look around, you wonder where the heck could a whitetail hide? But gee, you get down in these bottoms with all this tall grass and you can understand it. They're just about impossible to see. So the easiest thing to do is to see them coming from the feed fields in the open really early in the morning and going to bed. Then you know which one of these patches that they're going to be bedded in. Makes it a lot easier to sneak in there and spend that necessary time to spot them.
I don't know.
There he is to the right.
Okay, yeah. I think about 500 yards away. We need to knock off a couple hundred yards here anyway. Oh, it's only 354. Right, we've got to go after this buck. He's a big one, and he's going right now on a hot doe down in the creek. We got to get down to a stack of old hay bales here. We might have a crack at him.
Where the heck did he get to then? He went around here?
He was below this hill here. Ron, right here. He's right over here, just to the north of us. He's right by that cut bank. See him just?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he just dropped off the bank.
Let me see how far that is. Now it's 375. Let's get a little bit closer if we can.
If we can get up to this bluff and get set up, let's do that. Right down here. Okay. Well, this is a good setup because he's going to work that bottom, go back up towards the ranch house.
Did you see any does with him or anything?
I think there's a small buck ahead of him.
Let's see what we got here. Surely he's got to come out of there. I mean, it's just a crack of dawn here.
He'll surface. We just need
to chase some more does.
It's just a game of patience with these whitetails up here.
What's that? Is that him?
That's him. Okay, he's coming up. Now he.
Where'd he go?
He just went right back down.
He went down again, didn't he?
Yeah.
Doggone it.
He's just going to do that. He's going to pop up and go down. We'll just need to be ready. He's cruising for does.
I don't think it's going to happen.
Is that doe going to get up?
I don't think so. I think he's either with a doe down there or he's sleeping.
Estimating the drop on long-distance shots takes practice, precision, and ammo you can trust when it's time for going ballistic.
Winchester's website includes a really nifty ballistics calculator. You punch in the load of the ammunition you're shooting, and it'll tell you what your drops are going to be depending on if you sighted in at 100 yards, 200 yards. All that good ballistic stuff is in there. Do that, make yourself a handy little chart. 296. That's awfully close to 300. I should be dropping 5 inches. according to the ballistic tables. All right, everything looks good. Oh, that was a solid hit. Set that little steel plate a-rocking. Now, the Winchester ballistics table said I ought to be dropping about 5 inches, and that is 6 inches right on the nose. I aimed at the top of the plate to see what my drop would be at 300 yards. So that's just what I need to know for long-range shooting. I can shoot now with confidence because I know at 300 my bullet's going to drop this far. All right, Fred has talked me into it. He's gonna do a push. We saw that big buck go into those trees with the doe, and yesterday those trees had a lot of bedded deer in them. They're right up against the backside of the barn and the feedlot. So we're gonna just see what Fred can bump. He's gonna walk up through the farm just like he's tending cattle and go through that gate and walk right past him. All right, if he comes out right at the end of the trees and holds up, he'll be 103 yards away. If he runs on that slope where he was earlier, shoot, that's the same. That's only 110. Yeah, I've got clear angle of fire everywhere through here. Straight up, dead on shot. Set that scope to 6, put a round in. There's a doe coming. No, that's a doe and a fawn. There's a doe. That's a buck. They're not gonna stop. I'm gonna have to shoot him running. Yes! He never got up. He's down by that bush. It worked, Fred. We got him. It worked.
Oh, wow.
Oh, hey, look at there. That's better than I thought he was.
That's a great buck.
That's nice.
Look
Got
at that.
Big body on him. That's a darn mature deer, isn't it? Woo. First, a doe and a fawn came out, zippity-doo-dah. But then finally, that other doe came out, the one he was after. She broke back down in here. Then he came down right on her tail, but she wasn't stopping, and neither was he. That's a beautiful little antler on that guy. Perfectly matched. That's got about as nice a balance as you're ever gonna find, isn't it? Hey, you need any help, like a ride back to town or anything like that?
That'd be great.
It's an unusual whitetail place, I'll tell you that, but this is a good sample of what it can produce.
With one Dakota buck down, Ron's motoring 150 miles to hunt the reservations of central South Dakota.
On the table.
Winchester's World of Whitetail is brought to you by Winchester Ammunition, the American legend. Ram Trucks, Guts, Glory, Ram. Cabela's, celebrating 50 years as the world's foremost outfitter. Bushnell, magnify life. Dallas Safari Club, promoting conservation, education, and ethical hunting worldwide. Mossy Oak, it's not a passion, it's an obsession. Otis Technologies, the most advanced gun care systems in the world. And by Mule Deer Foundation, leader in mule deer and black-tailed deer conservation. Back in his home state of South Dakota, Ron Spomer's already tagged one impressive buck. Now he's off to the expansive Indian reservation lands, where he's testing a new rifle to review in an upcoming magazine article.
That is a trained ewe right there. South Dakota really is a land of infinite variety because it's got short grass plains, tall grasses out in the east, but as you go west farther, it gets drier and higher until you eventually get to this mountain range, the Black Hills. It's always been the mecca for whitetail hunting in South Dakota. What a difference 150 miles can make. You get off of that short grass buffalo plains up there in western South Dakota, just to central South Dakota, along a river valley like this, and it suddenly turns into more typical whitetail habitat. All right, let's see. This thing has been bore sighted. One of the dirty jobs one has to do as a gun rider or an outdoor rider is go on hunts with different manufacturers' gear and try them out so we can spread the word about what's new, what works well, what we like, what we don't like. And what we have here is a Howler rifle. It's a model 1500. Up front you've got a beautiful free-floated barrel, which is always good for accuracy. It's not very often a free-floating barrel isn't accurate. So you can lay that front-end stock on any sort of a surface and you're not going to get the kickback you would if the barrel was against a hard, locked-in traditional stock. Nice. Those two shots are about that far apart. And in a wind like this, off of a rest like that, I'd say that's pretty good.
This must be what Ken was talking about. Yeah. Haystacks, bale pile, perfect. Looks like we've got river bottom all around us. Wind's out of the north. Yeah, if I get up here, that's going to give me a good view of everything. I have a pretty nifty setup this morning. Standing up on these big round bales in a stack, so we've got a little bit of elevation, and we're right down in the river valley. We've got rolling hills, grasslands, cedar breaks, a little bit of badlands country, just a mess of habitats. But this river bottom is obviously the hotspot for whitetails. Oh, there's a buck. Pretty tall. Got good brows. Should I shoot him? Now let's wait. Wait for a bigger one. I guess I'll shoot him. I don't know. I can't make up my mind. Boy, that's a nice 3-year-old buck right there, but I don't know. First morning, it's tempting. Got good mass. He's a 4x5. If he were a 5x5, I think I'd drop the hammer on him. In love with that doe right there. But I think I want to look around a little more. So let's just check it out and see what happens.
These western river valleys are ribbon oases for whitetails. It's so dry in the uplands, and then you've got this winding serpentine river strip of cover, and that's just a magnet for whitetails. It's really the reason they're out here. They come up from the Missouri River, up the White River, the Morrow, the Grand, all these small rivers that drain off of the western Dakotas. It's probably no more than a half-mile wide. That's a fairly well-defined, narrow little ribbon of cover. That really helps concentrate your deer activity.
This is pretty nice. Sitting up on these bales, we've got 2 does over there, 2 bucks and a doe over here. There's not 100 yards to the close ones. They really haven't spooked, haven't figured me out. It's a real tempting buck. This area has potential for some really big old whitetails. But man, what an easy shot this would be. Ah, I gotta shoot him. I gotta shoot him. I can't resist this thing. Whoa. He's leaving. Oh no. And when I finally decide to shoot him, he takes off. Wait a minute. Oh, he's coming back. Oh yeah, he's coming back. Oh, here comes the doe. All right, here we go. Stop. I'm gonna take him. Couldn't resist. He just stayed around so long, like I was supposed to shoot him.
This red grass that was all down here is big blue stem and some switchgrass. These are native tall grass prairie grass. It's just a heck of a good native grass, and it's down in these wet areas because it's got enough moisture. It's an Iowa, Ohio sort of species. Oh, there he is. Oh, nice buck. He hung around for so long, and I finally had to give in. He just wore me down. It was too good of an opportunity to pass. Nice, mature buck, good thick rutting neck on him. Look at the length of that main beam. Man, that thing comes down almost to the end of his nose. That's what I loved about him. When he would walk like that, I just couldn't resist it. Even though he's not balanced, he's missing this one. But the G4 here is really nice. I mean, that is just a really good representative, mature buck. I never imagined when I was a kid hunting in the Black Hills of South Dakota that I would, 42 years later, still be hunting South Dakota whitetails and still be shooting them on the run. But it's really fascinating to discover what whitetails have done in those 42 years. That versatile whitetail has been able to adapt to an incredibly harsh habitat. This is about as fringe habitat as you can get for whitetails. And the way they've adapted to living down in those willow benches underneath those cliffs on that little river is pretty impressive. Whitetails really are North America's #1 big game animal, and for darn good reason.